on this horror timeline, we are kicking off the final week of How Bad Could It Be? Quarantine hopefully will be rounding down in the near future. I'm kind of hoping. Out here in Los Angeles, I guess we'll see what happens. But this is going to be the final week of the multiple videos per week series that we've been doing, and going to go back to being up on every Friday after this. So I really thank you guys for sticking with me through this whole thing, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I've really enjoyed making them. It's given me something to do. Hopefully it's given you something to watch, so I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll stick through in this final week, which we're kicking off with the Bad Ben series. If you've not heard of these series, they're pretty interesting, and they've got a pretty unique backstory in that most of them are actually literally filmed, shot, directed, blah, 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 everything by one guy. So how does a movie featuring one guy get stretched out to seven movies? And, I mean, if it's just one dude, I mean, how bad could it be? So the saga of Bad Ben began back in 2016 with Bad Ben. Wait a minute, this came out 4 years ago, and there's been 6 sequels since then? That's a new record. We're told that the footage is from Thomas Riley's phone and security system, and then we meet Tom, and here's where I tell you that Nigel Bach here is the writer, director, producer, editor, and only cast member of this film. That's right, this is a true one-man, low-budget indie show which reportedly only cost $300 to make. So Tom buys this house on Steelmanville Road, and almost immediately odd stuff starts to happen, but luckily the house has a full security system set up with cameras in every room. He finds an odd old baby toy on a makeshift grave marked Ben, which he destroys. Come on, you know that's never a good move. There's weird shadows outside, and the furniture moves around all on its own, and there's something secret in the basement. Tom figures out to use the kid's toy to communicate with the ghost, and it turns out that the previous owners were both murdered there. And Tom gets more and more concrete evidence that paranormal stuff is happening. And just never goes to anyone for help. He just kind of lives with the ghost. It even leaves him messages in ash, which he handles really, really well.
Not your home. Well, I got news for you. It is my home.
Well, then it beats him up, and he finds a drawing that shows Mom, Dad, Good Ben, and Bad Ben, who's in the basement. Finally, he manages to get down there, and something's chained up and attacks, dragging him down by the unseen Ben. There's no date given in this one, so let's roll with real-time 16 for now. 1 year later, we get a continuation of the story with 2017's Steelmanville Road, and we meet a young couple who inherit the house from the first movie. It's kind of weird since they inherit from Rachel's birth mother who died a few weeks ago, and even though she didn't know her, she seems a little too excited about it. They find the little music box and install a security system, a system that was already in place in the last film, so it's looking like this is probably the story of the family that lived there before Tom, when Rachel starts hearing things. Matt ignores it, even while a rocking chair moves by itself right behind him, and in fact, everyone in this film is kind of horrible to Rachel in general, and a ghost makes an on-camera appearance. They actually see the ghost, and again, don't do anything with the footage, and when things intensify, they just stay there. Psychic Lady Mona here comes by and tells them that the ghost is Elijah, Rachel's brother who died, and she draws the picture Tom found in the first film. There's a bunch of backstory about a child of the devil that needs Rachel to have his child, and oh boy. The creature shows up and I guess rapes her. Matt works somewhere that he has to wear a short-sleeved dress shirt, a tie, and jeans, and I don't know why that bothered me, but it really did. Rachel is pregnant, and the film jumps ahead to the end of her pregnancy, and she has the baby, and it screeches just like Bad Ben did. Matt tries to kill it, but it kills him instead, and Rachel adds Bad Ben to that drawing, and then I guess dies.
It's done. Can I cross over now?
Oh god, I hope that the other ones are more like the first one and less like this. Mona buries Ben and gives a bunch of exposition to explain why things are the way they are for the next film, and then we see Tom arrive to check out the house. So, since this is supposed to be shortly before the last one and stretches out at least 9 months, we're most likely in 2016 and possibly going back to 2015. The journey continued later on in the same year with Badder Ben, the final chapter. You know how many final chapters I've sat through that weren't the final chapters? Way too many. This one starts off with the premise that the first 2 films worth of material was released, so a team of paranormal investigators head to the house to uncover the truth. We get our first footage in the entire series that's not in the house, and Tom is back. He's alive. They pay him to bring him back to the house, which I guess is weird. They say in the beginning that millions of people saw the footage of the first film, so you'd think that he'd have some sort of fame after that. The car has inspection stickers that expire in 2017, so this one is in real time, so I guess it's a year after the events of the first film, which makes sense giving time for the footage to get out and achieve a sort of notoriety. They go to all the ghosty spots, and then they hold a seance, and there's some extremely dodgy CGI. And what do you want for $20? They say that he disappeared last year, so that's confirmed, and the crew gets yanked into the basement, so Tom removes all the cameras and declares to fight the demon. It possesses Jackie, and Tom leads Ben to it, so it kicks it out? I think that's what this is supposed to mean. It ends with Tom once again being sucked into the basement, but he's victorious this time, and 1 month later, he becomes a paranormal investigator. 1 year later, 2018, brought us Bad Ben, the Mandela Effect, and in case you aren't familiar with what that is, it's a thing where people misremember things and then blame it on a parallel universe. That's my version of it, at least. So we see Tom, and he's just bought the house, although it's different than we've already seen, so it's a retelling of the events of the first film, so I guess we're back in 2016? Things go a little differently, and then there's a doll buried in the woods this time, and the doll moves around, and it and another doll attack him. And when he locks them in the basement, they pull him down just like the ending of the first film. We then jump to an alternate reality where Tom is yet again going to the house for the very first time, and this version has a pop-up clown who pops up in front of the security camera for some reason. I'm not sure who thinks it's scaring, as no one's even watching the cameras at this point. This Tom brings him in a Ouija board, which riles things up, and this Tom gets pulled downstairs almost immediately. We then meet a third Tom, or I guess fourth, counting the original movie version, and after getting some mysterious phone calls, he also gets killed by the house. So we move on to the next and final Tom going to the house for the first time, but he hears one noise and heads on out. I think we all relate to that Tom. Just a few months later, a new film was released with the same format called The Crescent Moon Clown. We're told a new family has taken possession of the house, and Renee, their daughter, is home from college. Everything is the same, so this new family just kept all the same furniture that was left behind. Like, Tom kept the other family stuff, mainly because it's Nigel's own stuff and he didn't want to set decorate. Renee gets strange phone calls, hears footsteps, and she even finds writing in blood on the floor and just kind of sticks around. So, I guess I just don't understand, because Badder Ben seemed to state that the first two films were released and extremely popular and seen by millions of people, so you would assume that the house would have a certain notoriety, like the Amityville house, but I guess people still don't know it's haunted? There's long, empty scenes where nothing really happens at all, I guess to stretch us out to a feature length, and I don't know if we're still supposed to be creeped out by a light going on by itself or a door opening, but we're not. Things keep happening, and even though she knows that someone has been in the house and...
Hello? I need a weapon.
Or you could call the police. Or you can go somewhere else. Or anything except walking around your house saying hello for the 100th time. They try to explain her not leaving by saying her friend can't come pick her up, but I mean, Uber exists. When the clown ghost gets a hold of her phone, and again, a strange person in her attic grabs her phone away, and she still doesn't use the house phone to call the police, and we're treated to about 15 solid minutes of him walking around the house very slowly. More ghosts show up, and then Tom Riley shows up. He says he's been binge watching 13 Reasons Why, which came out in 2017, so are most likely set then, later in the year than Bad Ben. We find out that the clown is called the Crescent Moon Clown, a doll made full size by a witch, but the clown pulls Renee's wig off, so she just yells at them, which I guess scares them off. She kills the clown and they just leave finally. Okay, how many was that? Is that it? Two more to go. Nigel kept churning them out, and in 2019 we get Bad Ben, The Way In. We learn of a new owner, so I guess Renee's family sold the house, and a new owner has hired Tom to go in and try and purge the evil forces. Giving time to sell off the house, we're most likely in 2018 now, and he finds a secret room he never knew about where somebody also apparently lives. Sure enough, he's soon getting attacked and throwing dolls down the stairs. I wish more people in movies that have dolls in them would just pick them up and throw them down the stairs. It's underrated. Tom finds a book behind a painting that's an instruction book for the evil in the house.
This is going to be real interesting.
It's kind of not. It says the main demon's name is Andrus, and I guess this is him? A Ouija board tells him that there's 9 spirits in the house and he has to round them up and put them through a portal. He gets the 2 dolls, the voodoo dolls, and the clown doll, and he finds a gateway to, I guess, hell behind the stove in a basement. He banishes all the spirits there, and the last one is called the President of the High Council of Demons and looks like this. But when he finds out that he was lied to by the new owner, he lets them all back in. He's mad because he was being live streamed and this upsets him, although I'm not sure who he was talking into when he was talking into the camera if he wasn't expecting viewers. I don't know. Which brings us to our most recent entry, Bad Ben 7, The Haunted Highway. And can we talk about the insanity of the fact that we're on part 7 of a series that started in 2016? This one kicks off letting us know that we're set on Halloween in 2019, and he's working for a rideshare company called Drop You Off, and finally get out of that house. He gets a mysterious amulet in the mail, and all of his rides are to Steelmanville Road, and oddly, Tom asks where they're going after he picks them up, because I guess that the drop-off app doesn't give the location of where he's taking them to. Also, everyone gets in the front seat, which I've never done. Do you guys get in up front? I always sit in the back. Is that rude? He goes in the house and there's a bunch of cages everywhere, and Nigel's learned some new FX tricks as evidenced by this shoe trick. One of his fares turns out to be a vampire, and he also encounters a werewolf guy, a talking severed head, and another Camp Blood level clown costume. Tom still lives in a tent in the woods, and the vampire finds him there because I guess the app can show you where your driver is even when he declines your pickup request? That seems like a weird privacy violation, but okay. Tom stakes him and then meets alternate reality Toms in the woods and then blames his problems on the amulet, so he throws it away. So there you have it. There's 7 movies of pretty much just a guy walking around his house by himself. Yeah, that's all that these really are. They're all shot extremely low budget. As I said, the first movie was shot for $300, which is a pretty impressive feat. And how bad can they be? Well, I think it's less that they're bad and more that they're just kind of dull. I enjoyed the first one. The first one's actually pretty entertaining. Nigel actually plays a pretty good character in Tom, and his reactions to things are pretty funny, and it's pretty enjoyable that he carries that movie by himself. And I got a kick out of the last one just because it got out of the house and everything, and it switched up the formula, but kind of everything in between really just felt like more of the same. The 2 that really didn't feature Tom, like the Steelmanville Road one and the Crescent Moon Clown one, are the hardest ones to get through because you realize that Tom is, well, Nigel is really the only thing that kind of keeps these things together in the long run. But overall, I mean, they're really not that great. I tip my hat to the man for being able to do what he did, with the equipment that he had on hand, and actually made a very competent movie that is a lot of fun. And as I said, I do enjoy the first one. I would recommend checking it out just for the hell of it, especially just to see what someone can do on their own with $300 and make a pretty enjoyable film. But everything after that, unless you just really want to see what happens in this universe, I'd maybe avoid. Like I said, the last one, the Haunted Highway one's kind of fun, but even it's, you know, not really required viewing. Well, that's about it. If you've seen this one, if you've enjoyed them, let me know down below. Give the normal comments, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Check out the patrons over here. These guys are helping support the channel through this bizarre time that we're going through right now. Yeah, we've got this last week worth of How Bad Could It Be, and then we'll see you very shortly afterwards for another great video. Thanks, guys. Bye.